So, in today's world, what does it really take to become a millionaire? And we all have our opinions. I have mine. And I've helped guide hundreds of people into retirement, but that's only a couple hundred people. Fortunately for us, the Ramsey Group did a study of over 10,000 millionaires. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What did 10,000 people learn about becoming a millionaire and what can we borrow from them? So let's jump in. Again, this is by the Ramsey Group. It's called the National Study of Millionaires. It's over 10,000 millionaires. So there's a lot of wisdom here. And Dave Ramsey opens by saying, few Americans today really believe they have what it takes to be wealthy. I think most of us can retire comfortably and wealthy in our own terms, and many of us can retire millionaires. So Dave goes on to say that the national study of millionaires that his group did proves that the beliefs of how millionaires got their money are wrong and they're flat wrong. So let's talk about a few of the key findings from his study, and then I'm going to share with you what my views are to give you the best chance to save as much money and to have as comfortable of a retirement and enjoy the journey as much as possible along the way. Okay, the first one is, a lot of people think millionaires inherited their money. That's not true. It's almost 80%, 79% did not receive any inheritance. And there's another 10 or 15% that received a fairly modest inheritance. The next one is that you've got to go to a top tier school, in one of the elite schools to get an elite job and to make big money. That's not true either. Almost two-thirds, 62%, graduated from public university or state schools. And then the other one is, you've got to be an investment banker, you've got to be a money manager, you have to be a consultant, a banker, one of those, a doctor, a lawyer, one of the jobs that pay big dollars. And the top 5 careers out of these 10,000 millionaires that Ramsey Group studied, the top 5 careers, number 1 was engineer, number 2 was accountant, number 3 was teacher, number 4 was somebody in management, and number 5 was an attorney. So how did they do it? And Dave goes into a couple key things that I'm going to share with you. But first, I want to talk about, unfortunately, when we retire, there's really 2 expenses that people underestimate, dramatically underestimate. And it can bite us in the butt and it can bite us hard. The first one is taxes, and the second one is healthcare. And that's why I'm proud to partner with today's video sponsor, which is Chapter. They're a Medicare advisor. So once we're on Medicare, that decision is not one and done. It's make a good decision each and every year. And as I record this, the United States is in their annual enrollment period, which runs October 15th to December 7th. And each and every year, I encourage you to look and make sure you're on the right plan for you. Things change. Which drugs are covered and how much you're going to have to co-pay for them, which doctors you're allowed to see that are in network, which hospitals are in network, which pharmacies are preferred. There's a lot of things that change. And the reason that I agreed to partner with Chapter is 3 main reasons. First, their services are free to you and I. There's no reason not to use them. The second is their average client saves almost $100 a month, $1,100 a year. And the third one is, I believe, when you call them up, when you talk with them, if you are on the right plan for you, they're going to tell you you're on the right plan for next year. No need to make any changes. Thank you again, Chapter, for sponsoring this video. Okay, so what did Dave Ramsey find that helped these people become millionaires? Number 1, just the basic blocking and tackling. They were consistent savers over time. Time is our best friend. The sooner we start, the sooner we get compounding working for us. I want you to think of each dollar that you save as a soldier going into battle for you. And the battle is the battle to become financially independent. And the more soldiers you have working for you, They're gonna recruit their friends, so it's compounding is what I'm talking about, the value of compounding. And it's like the old Chinese proverb, "When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today." So if you're behind, if you haven't saved as much as you want, it is what it is, but jump on it now. Start today. The second one, again, basic blocking and tackling. They watch their dollars, they watch their pennies. 85% of them have a grocery list, and about a third of them stick to that grocery list pretty diligently, right? And that's just a silly example, right? When we go to the grocery store, we're all guilty of impulsive buys, buying things. I go to one of the big warehouses once a month and, I always end up spending 3 or 4 times the amount of money that I was planning because there were all these bargains. I think a lot of us fall victim to that. So to the extent we can think about it and do what we can to combat all of that in-store advertising trying to get us to spend more money. The other big one is they take advantage of their company 401k. In fact, 80% of them signed up for their company's 401k. That's a big number. And really, outside of your emergency fund, that's probably the first place that your money should go, at least up to your company match. Be aware that there's often vesting associated with that. So you may not get the company's money right away, but your money is always your money. Okay, now we're gonna move on to my list. That was Dave's top three. Number four, this is from me, is strive to save 20%. I know it's aspirational. I know it's not easy to do it, but if you can, your future self will thank you. There's really two ways to get to that 40% goal. The first way to get to that 20% goal is the rip the band-aid off. Segment your spending into must-haves and want-to-haves. And must-haves is your rent, your utilities, it's gas to get back and forth to the car, it's your groceries, things like that. And want-to-haves are going out to eat, going to a restaurant, obviously, taking a nicer vacation, the cardboard boxes that show up on our front porches. Segment that and try to keep your after-tax paycheck before your 401k contribution. So the gross number after taxes. Try to keep your must-haves, your needs, try to keep that to 50% or less. Try to keep your wants to 30% or less. And if we can do that, guess what? We have 20% left to save. So that can be really powerful. Okay. The next one, speaking of spending, is spend for your memories and spend for your adventures and your joys, not those cardboard boxes. Think about the last 100 days. Think about the last 3 months. How did you spend your money? See if you can write it down, particularly the things that were not mortgage payment or rent and utilities that were not necessities. Uh, the non-necessities, see if you can list them out. And I think you'll be shocked at how few dollars you can actually remember that you spent, which what that tells me is we're not spending things that have impact. We're not spending in a way that have impact and bring joy and meaning to our life. And the next one is to have a plan. Now there's two big ones coming after this, but first it's important to have a plan because if we fail to plan, what was the military term? If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, and I know none of us want to do that. And to come up with a good financial plan for you, whether you're 10 months, 10 days, or 10 years away from retirement, it's important we all have a retirement plan, a financial plan. Otherwise, we're gonna do one of two things. We're gonna sacrifice unnecessarily, we could have spent more, or we're gonna put our financial future at risk. Neither of those two are good, and I can tell you, it feels like you're either in one of those two camps without a plan. When you have a plan, you can rest at ease. Don't build your own plan in Excel. Takes too long, too easy to make a mistake. Your spouse is not gonna trust your Excel spreadsheet. use software designed for you. The software that I like is called Bolden. It's powerful, it's easy to use, and it's super affordable. You can sign up for it at the link below. Okay, the two most important ones on today's list. The first one is to be flexible. And while I like to do yoga, that's not the type of flexibility I'm talking about. I'm talking about the flexibility that comes when life happens and you have to adjust things. If you're getting close to retirement and your financial advisor says, you have an 80% likelihood of not running out of money. Probably the second thing that financial advisor is going to tell you is, I recommend let's keep working a few more years to build up your likelihood of not running out of money to 90%, 95%, 97%. And that's fine. That is not necessarily bad advice. It's advice I've given as well. But the challenge with that is to go from 80% to 95% likelihood of success. You probably need to work another 2, 3, maybe 5 years. You have 100% certainty of giving those years up in order to gain a few extra points of confidence that you don't have to worry about running out of money before a certain age. Would you rather do that, or would you rather be flexible and say, if I have to take a part-time job, I'll do that for a couple years? In the 20% likelihood that that happens, you're not going to fly the plane into the ground. You're going to make adjustments. So be flexible. And the next one is really the most important one. And it's where I see people destroying 20, 30, 40 years of hard work overnight, instantly, and I don't wanna see that happen to you, and I'm gonna share that, but first I wanna say, if you like these insights, think about signing up for my newsletter. It's where I share insights like this. It's free, comes out every week, and if you like my videos, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with others. The YouTube algorithm really relies on things like that to say, hey, let's share this video to a broader audience. So thank you for helping me with that. So what's the biggest one that can destroy retirements in a week? And that is panicking and becoming a forced seller in a down market. You can avoid becoming a forced seller. Really, there's two ways people come up with it. One is they just need the money to live on. And if you get your asset allocation right, what percent of your portfolios and stocks and bonds, you never have to worry about that. And the second way, and this is the most destructive way people become forced sellers in a down market, is they panic. The worrying of a down market becomes so great they can't sleep at night. They get a pit in their stomach and they say, just make the pain stop. And the way you protect yourself from that is you think about that now. As I record this, the market's near an all-time high. Think about what happens if the market corrects 20, 30, 40% or more. It it can happen, and it has happened in the past. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but think about it now. Would you be able to stay the course? And I can tell you this, many people are heroes for the first 20% when the market drops. They're, buy the dip. It's always worked in the past. The market goes up, the market goes down. I hear that a lot until the down in the market, the decrease goes past 20%. When it hits 30 and 40%, that's when people go from not worried about it to angst and panicking. Don't let that happen to you. Super important decision is how you're invested. Another super important decision is when you decide to retire. And that's why I made this video up here. Why waiting to 65 to retire might be a big mistake. Thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.